Illustrated Magazine. I'm Senior Editor Bill Apter with another special IWCCW PWI press conference here in the Bahamas at the beautiful British Colonial Hotel. This is part 3 of a 3-part series with former world heavyweight champion, the great Dory Funk Jr. Dory, welcome back.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here, especially in this beautiful setting here.
Isn't it great?
Oh, really nice.
Last time we were together, we were talking about this car accident that you had. That was our next subject, which led to you losing the belt, the NWA belt, to Harley Race. Tell us what happened with this car accident.
Well, as I said before, my father had a big influence on myself and my brother. We were all out at his ranch, the Flying Mare Ranch. And
you're trying to say he was a bad driver?
No.
Okay.
No, I was the driver, unfortunately.
Okay, go ahead.
But he needed to move some cattle from one place to the next, and you've seen cutting horses work. Well, we didn't have a horse ready at the time, so we took the pickup truck, and I was chasing a calf. And that calf cut one way, and I turned the pickup after the calf, and the calf turned the other way, and that pickup went right over into the creek. There was a small creek that ran through his ranch. I wound up with a separated shoulder out of that accident. I was supposed to wrestle Jack Briscoe the next night in Houston, Texas. Naturally, I couldn't make that. I received a lot of pressure from then-President Sam Mushnick of the National Wrestling Alliance and a lot of other promoters to come back and get back in the ring as quick as possible. I was back in the ring within about 4 weeks,
right.
And I wound up wrestling Harley Race the very first match after I came back in Kansas City, and that's the night that I lost the World Heavyweight Championship.
Okay.
So I don't really blame it on the car wreck.
That's what I was going to ask you. A lot of champions, you know, say, well, I was injured, it was a car wreck. Was Harley Race just a better man that night?
Well, he was against a one-armed champion,
yes.
All right.
Yeah,
okay. Sure.
Now, what an interesting thing that a lot of fans don't realize, but we ran this match in The Wrestler several years ago, is that people always say, I wonder if this brother could beat that brother. Dory Funk and his brother Terry Funk actually did wrestle each other. Can you tell us about that? How did that come about?
We were both in Japan at that time. There was a 16-man tournament held with a large cash prize to the winner of the tournament. And my brother and I had both entered the tournament, and we both came through on opposite ends, so that left no choice but for me to wrestle against my brother. I wrestled him about 59 minutes, and fortunately I gained a fall that night.
Yeah, when you two were kids, wait a minute, when you two were kids, who used to win?
Well, when we were very young, see, I would be like 9 years old and he was 6 years old. So it was very easy for me to win when we were kids.
Right.
As we grew older, he got tougher and tougher all the time. So I stayed away from him for a very, very long time. And then finally that time in Japan, I had my hands full.
Okay. In Japan, Dory Funk is a legend in Japan, as is Terry Funk. And many times you've both befriended and wrestled the national hero there, Shohei Baba the Giant. Tell us what that's like, getting into the ring with someone so much bigger than you and wrestling this national legend.
Well, Baba's a tremendous wrestler. He's a big man. He's very close to 7 feet tall. People watch him, and sometimes they question whether his scientific skills are really there. Well, I can guarantee you this. He's a very good scientific wrestler, too. I recently was involved in a match with Baba in Japan in which he broke his leg. And he has since come back and had a very successful return. I've competed against him many times, and I want to wish him luck on his return. He's had one match now since coming back and did very well. Okay. And I hope that everything goes well for him in the future. All
right, in the last few years, Dory Funk not only involved in wrestling, but Dory, you've been involved in your own business with your wife, Marty.
Right. Marty is my wife, and I noticed you have a picture of her there.
Yes, we have shown that.
Okay, great. Okay. Both of us are licensed mortgage brokers, and we have and run a business in Ocala, Florida. And our business is finding people that are in need of money, and if someone comes along that needs money, we'll put together an investor who will supply them with money, and we're the broker.
One last question. Could you compare the great champions, world champions of today, with the champions of the day of Dory Funk and Jack Briscoe? What do you have to say?
Well, my way of looking at things, I don't think there's a better wrestler any period of time than Jack Briscoe. He was just terrific. Hulk Hogan, tremendous, charismatic personality in professional wrestling today. can say nothing good about him, and I really haven't wrestled him that much. Was opposite him in a tag team match on a WrestleMania show one time.
What about Ric Flair? I know you've wrestled him many times.
Worlds of praise for Ric Flair.
Okay.
I think he's just great. The thing about Ric Flair, anytime you go to watch him, you're going to see somebody work hard and sweat for what he gets. And I really think Ric Flair is one of the great wrestlers, maybe the greatest wrestler today.
The IWCCW champion, we're on their airwaves right now. As you know, their champion is Tony Atlas. What about, you've seen him, and I'm sure you've wrestled him many times.
Yes, I watched Tony come up through the ranks in professional wrestling. I know he's got a great amateur background. He was a tremendous amateur wrestler. He was Mr. America, Mr. USA, after becoming a professional wrestler first. If he has a goal and he wants it, he goes and gets it. He's a great wrestler. He's got the body, as they would say. He's got the muscles, but he's got also he has a scientific base to be one of the greatest in the business today.
Okay. This has been one of the highlights of my interviewing career, sitting here with the great former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Dory Funk. Dory, it's been a pleasure, and I can only wish you the best because I know you're still wrestling, and you have a lot of other things going on in wrestling, and it was great to talk to you.
Thank you very much, and it's one of the highlights of my interview career to be able to sit here with you.
Thank you.
Especially here in Nassau in the Bahamas, and I want to thank you very much.
Thank you. For Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine, I'm Senior Editor Bill Apter with the great Dory Funk, and we'll see you at the matches.
Don't you go away. We'll be right back with more International World Class Championship Wrestling. Hey.
Hello, everyone, from Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine. I'm Senior Editor Bill Apter. Today, a special bulletin. I got a real scoop for you. As you know, several weeks ago, I had Dory Funk Jr., the former great NWA champion, on my PWI segment. It's been announced that the IWCCW officials have elected Dory Funk Jr. Commissioner of Wrestling. Dory, congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, and it's my pleasure to be here. And I want to say this. During my tenure as a professional wrestler, as the World Heavyweight Champion, and at times as a wrestling promoter, I have seen some of the best professional wrestling promotions in the country and have worked for some of the best promoters, among them Sam Mushnick, who was the president of the National Wrestling Alliance. I watched him run his town, St. Louis, with an iron hand.
Absolutely.
He really did a good job. I will be doing much the same here at International World Class Wrestling. And I will be doing my best to see that we have competition in the ring, and competition is allowed to go forth without the interference of people from the outside.
That's what we want to talk about. The people like the Boston Bad Boy, Tony Rumble, and his the Brotherhood, this gang of thieves running in and interfering in matches. What do you propose to do for something like this?
Well, first of all, there's nothing wrong with a manager signing a professional wrestler to a contract. That occurs all the time, and nothing can be done about that. But when it comes to interference within an actual wrestling match in the ring, then my opinion is that something should be done, some fines should be levied, some teeth should be put into the law. And I know there are a lot of people that don't want to go along with just exactly the way things should be. But I've seen some promoters put some teeth into their operations in the past, and I feel like that I can put some teeth into International World Class Wrestling. Yes.
Right. Well, it looks like law and order may be restored here in the IWCCW. Again, this is a special scoop that I got here. Dory Funk Jr. named Commissioner of International World Class Championship Wrestling. I'm Bill Apter for Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine, and we'll see you at the matches.
Coming up next, a very special message.